This is the story of the ampleharvest.org campaign, which is an interesting look at an opportunity to meld together technology, to meld together people's goodwill, and to bring them together to solve a problem, in this case hunger, that some people thought, and malnutrition, that could never be solved, and to do it without spending a dime. So my mother would say, finish what's on your plate, kids are starving in Europe. And these were the images, the type of image that we would have. This is what it looks like today in America. I became a master gardener, and I had so much food in this garden growing that there was a point where my wife said, you're not bringing any more in the house. I was giving food away to friends, and I discovered there's only so many cucumbers you can give to friends and still have them call you a friend. And I knew there's a battered women's shelter here in the town, and I contacted the woman who ran it. I knew her, Sandra Ramos. And I called up, Sandra, I got food. Does your shelter need it? She said, thank you. Now we have some fresh food. And I remember thinking, my God, what is it? They just have canned produce all the time. It just stuck with me. I wasn't thinking in terms of food pantries or food banks or hunger in America. It was just one of those tipping points that trigger something with you. As the summer wears on, there was a lot of food left in the garden. People were getting overwhelmed, going on vacation, they were bored. And I said, if we're going to have an ample harvest, the least we can do is give it to people who need it. And it just rolled right off my tongue. I had this vision that if I couldn't find a pantry, then millions of other gardeners couldn't find a pantry either. Ampleharvest.org was an idea that I had in March of '09 when I was involved with a community garden here in our town of West Milford, New Jersey. Think of ampleharvest.org as a Google-type device. The food pantries register themselves, and we're working very hard to get more and more food pantries up on ampleharvest.org and to get the word out to the gardening community. So food pantries are now in this national database, and then when you're the gardener who wakes up one morning and looks out and sees more tomatoes than you can use, you go to the site, you key in your zip code or where you live, and a list of food pantries comes up on the screen in distance order with a Google map next to it. And you pick the one that's most convenient to you, you click on that, up comes the details about the food pantry, and then you take your food right to the food pantry. And they're basically in the basement of a church or a YMCA, and it's where people in need in a community go to when they need food assistance. And these may be people who are chronically having difficulty with food, or these may be people newly unemployed who've never had to require assistance before. The key beneficiaries ultimately of the ampleharvest.org campaign are the children in this country. We're having a problem across America with childhood obesity, diabetes on the rise. This is in large part caused by the children not getting access to the good foods they should really be getting. What Michelle Obama's Let's Move initiative is striving to do is to get people, particularly children, I should say, eating healthier and exercising more.
Groups like the National Council of Churches have joined with an organization called Ample Harvest to help gardeners donate fresh produce to 4,700 of their local food pantries.
Eating healthier and better food is not necessarily affordable to millions of people, but if we get fresh, locally grown food into the food pantry system for free, which is what ampleharvest.org does, that solves the problem. And millions of people who wouldn't have had access to fresh food suddenly now have fresh food for themselves and their families. I gotta tell you, every day that I do ampleharvest.org, I'm learning there's more to it than I thought there was, which tells me there's more down the road than I know there's there now. And I don't know where it's going, but it's a wonderful path for myself and I think for the country.